Okay, this is really important. I need you to understand this concept. The idea that everything is connected is like the root cause that led me to found this specific kind of organization that is Earth Government, because we need to address multiple things at the same time because they're connected. Okay, for example, Palestine, okay, the Palestinian genocide, it's part it's connected, it's part of the ploy for US influence and Israel influence in the Middle East, which is connected with the Iran situation, which is connected with the Rojava situation, the Kurdistan, the situation with Turkey, essentially, because you see, they needed the Kurds for ISIS, but even ISIS is like somewhat controversial, its roots, and then they abandoned them, of course, and now the Kurds are left to fend for themselves. But since Turkey is an ally somewhat both to the Western world, Europe, and to the US, but also to Russia in a way, because it's in the middle ground, you can't help the Kurds. And you won't, because you don't care about the people, you just care about the power, the money, the influence. Okay, so Kurdistan independence is not in the mind of most politicians. But an organization like Earth Government would help establish Kurdistan independence, because it's about the people, not about power. Like, there won't be money, but how do we do this? Well, if we need to escape the power of money as over people, we need to push for anti-capitalism. Okay, now Earth Government doesn't necessarily impose anti-capitalism, but pushes it, like promotes it, makes experiments like universal basic income from politicians. This is part of the way we need to free ourselves from the influence of money over people, so that we can prioritize human rights and people needs, essentially. Okay, is this all clear? Like, this is the foundation, and this leads to us taking care of climate change. Why? Because climate change is something that can be fought against. Like, it's pretty late to definitely solve it in the foreseeable future, but we can mitigate it and start working to reverse it. Okay, but how do we do this? If our priority is money, we can't, because money will not help us for the bigger parts of climate change, like, for example, changing the way the industries work, because it's not only the energetic industry, of course. So we need to make a difference. How? Well, we need to grow. The government wants to in a way permeate through the ripples of society, and be something that doesn't care about nations at first. Like, people from USA can join Earth Government. This does not mean USA is joining Earth Government. But once politicians from USA join Earth Government and then they get power, they can push for the nation to join Earth Government. But beforehand, while they are still not officially part, like, the nation is not officially part of the organization, but the individuals are, we already start supporting the people, and we can do this worldwide. You see, once we get enough members, once we start to parasite the economy, because we need to, like, once we establish anti-capitalism, everything will be good. But before we establish capitalism, we need to exploit capitalists. Like, we need to take everything from them, because, well, essentially they stole it from the people. So, I mean, it's taking it back. They think it like Robin Hood, if you want. And then we give it to the people. Okay, for example, we can start working towards a universal basic income, even not on a national level, because nations may not agree, but on a membership level. Okay, but this is long-term planning. Let's return to why everything is connected, because it's important to understand. Okay, Russia, Ukraine, USA, Europe. I'm not necessarily saying this is true, but it is possible that since USA is an enemy of Europe at this point, Russia has been since the invasion of Ukraine maybe since the invasion of Crimea, probably even before. Essentially, Europe is in a way being surrounded, okay? Like taking Greenland is another move towards this encirclement of Europe. And this is a big issue, even on a military sense, like literally warfare sense. And like for now, there has been a step back. But I wouldn't necessarily believe that Greenland is something Trump wants only for his ego. Partially, necessarily, because he's a child, essentially, that can't be told no, but not only for that. Why? Because there are many advantages of owning Greenland. One is the opening of a commercial route through the northern seas, the Arctic seas. Because of climate change, there is less ice, so more ships can travel through it. And Russia already planned to exploit this route, but also America can do it. I mean, everyone can do it, but the idea is to control it. And that's an issue. That's also why some companies actually profit off climate change. This is important. Other than oil companies, of course, oil companies like not really profit off climate change, but cause climate change for their own profit, like because of their profits. And this is important to understand that Greenland is not only an ego-boosting situation, it's also for power. And not necessarily power against Russia, but it could be power against Europe from both USA and Greenland. And Russia. Sorry, not Greenland. Sorry, Denmark. Sorry, Greenland for this. On the other hand, Iran, okay? Iran is a difficult topic, and we of the left, of the radical left, need to learn nuance. Because it's true that there has been USA involvement in the Iran rebellion, Iranian situation. But it's also true that the regime there is oppressive towards its people. And they, in a way or on another one, want to escape, want to live up in a better nation, okay? And yes, sure, USA and Israel actually may have infiltrated, pushed, whatever, but it's still undeniable that the people want something to change. Similarly with the northern parts of Iran that are fighting the Rojava situation, okay? I don't remember if it's in this video that I already talked about Turkey. I think I did. Yes, I think it's in this video, okay? And this is important as well. It's a similar thing. And okay, I'll go towards the conclusion for this video, but the point is that Earth government should one day, when it is strong, behave in such a way, even military, that helps the people that need it. Like, I will use Trump as an example because what he did is a problem because Trump did it. It's not necessarily a problem in the great scheme of things. Like the way it happened in Venezuela with Maduro is an issue. Because one nation is essentially declaring war, invading, attacking the political leader of another nation while they are at peace, not even at war formally. But the problem of Maduro existed. Like Maduro was not necessarily liked. It doesn't mean that what's coming is gonna be better. It's not. But the idea of getting rid of a dictator is important. And if there is something that's not another nation, but that's something above nations, that has authority, international authority, following international law to protect human rights, and this would be Earth government or one of the purposes of the Earth government, and that such organization can intervene and stop a dictator in a way or another, not killing, of course, but for example arresting, for example just protecting the civilians that want to protest, just this protecting the protesters. Even in Iran, this could be a usage of Earth government from the police side of it, okay? This is something that I want to build. This is something that I think we need. And I hope you can understand the nuance behind this situation. And for now, I'll stop here, okay?